Alright guys, let's talk about the Xiaomi 15, the global version here. It's been a while since we looked at this device here, and this has been a fantastic flagship since it came out. It has been awesome, and it's just gotten even better with the updates. I mean, honestly, with the updates, yeah, some stuff got a little bit smoother, but this phone was smooth and fast and everything since it came out. We're just waiting on the Android 16 update here. But it's more on the, I guess, kind of compact side, even though it's not really a compact, phone for the most part. I don't consider it's a 6.3-inch display, so it's not like crazy compact. But by today's standards, with phones being around 6.8, 6.9, it is very easy to hold, very easy to put in your pocket. And yeah, that's one thing that I really like about this phone. And I do like the design. It's a very minimalistic kind of design here. And a lot of people are saying it was kind of boring or ugly, but I think it works. I do like the design and build quality here. And IP68 dust and water resistant. It's not too squared off on the sides, which is something that I really like. And this one, something that is kind of like underrated, it doesn't wobble on the table when you are like typing. If you're a table typer, or if I'm doing like a speed test or something, it's not constantly wobbling and clacking against the table, which is something I really like. But hardware wise, this phone has stood up. I have not put a case on this phone. It came with a little plastic case, but I took it off. This phone has been still like perfect, almost perfect, pretty much. I might have like some tiny scratches on it, but it still looks really good. Now the global version is still going for around $800, so it is a little bit on the expensive side. And here's one for 256 gigs for $700, which is pretty nice. The price is coming down a little bit on this phone, but it is a flagship with one of the newer chipsets, right? So you're gonna have to pay for it. This phone display on here is still really nice. It's an LTPO AMOLED display. It's 120 hertz, 3200 nits peak brightness, HDR10 plus, and again 6.3 inches, pretty slim bezels on here, of course. So overall, I really like the display. It's 1200 by 2670 resolution at 460 for the PPI. This glass has been really strong as well too. Xiaomi calls it their Xiaomi Shield glass. And I haven't gotten any scratches or any major like little scuffs on this phone. And yeah, I think the display is awesome. Like I said, the highlight when using this phone is that it's a powerful, smaller phone, right? So it's very easy to kind of one hand and use it like that. So that's one thing that I appreciate. But very bright outdoors, great color reproduction here, no issues at all. MIUI has gotten well, it's been pretty smooth, but I've just really come to like how they do animations on here. Just attention to detail. Not all of the apps do the little animation thing when you back in and back out, like the browser. It doesn't do anything, but yeah, I do like that. Like I said, my only thing about this is that it kind of looks like iOS when you look at the control center, but that's not, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just kind of weird. But yeah, you have all the AI features on here that I was talking about with the 14T Pro. So I don't use a lot of the AI stuff, but you have even more AI stuff on here that you could take advantage of. I never use it. The dynamic wallpapers is something that I'll use from time to time, but I just don't find the AI features to be that useful. But yeah, if you are into that, it definitely is here. And you do get up to 4 major OS upgrades here, which is something that I'm hoping that Xiaomi extends to compete with Google and Samsung in the future to give us around that 6-7 year major OS update. Now, this phone, it does have the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, 256 gigs of internal storage, 12 gigs of RAM. This thing is blazing fast. It's super fast, guys. So that is one thing that I've really been enjoying about this device here. And I'm definitely going to do a speed test with all of the Xiaomi 15, the 25, the iPhone, and the Pixel, just to show you guys. It is really smooth, very consistent with animations. I'm always pretty impressed with the Xiaomi 15 performance. This phone does not really get hot. I've just had a great time every time I use this device. And like I said, gaming on this size phone is just really comfortable for me personally. So yeah, so I have nothing but good things to say. Animation wise, very nice. Battery life is great when you're gaming, so I don't have an issue with that. It's just been a very consistent phone, so I'm excited to see what Android 16 brings with this. But yeah, guys, I'm talking about just doing like regular stuff on here, whether it's gaming, running emulators. This thing is consistently always smooth. So it's one thing that I really like, because some phones you can have kind of like these, animation hiccups from time to time. But even when I'm opening up a lot of stuff, it's always consistently smooth. Check out these speakers at max volume. So I would say the speakers are pretty nicely balanced. There's definitely a good amount of bass here. Are they the most amazing speakers that I've heard on a flagship? No, but they are really good. They're definitely, our flagship speakers. I think they could be a little bit louder, but the bass is there, the clarity is there, so the speaker quality is really good. And also the vibrations and the haptics are really solid on this phone as well. The cool thing about the Xiaomi phones is, of course, you have Mi Remote, so you have a built-in, infrared port on here, so you can access your appliances and TVs and cameras and stuff like that, projectors. It's a very, handy feature to have. This is why I always love having Xiaomi phones. But yeah, so that's a cool thing to have, basically a universal remote built into this phone. Now, my thoughts on the camera quality, testing out all the other devices, I think this is definitely up there with, Pixels and iPhones. I think it takes just as good photos, Samsung Galaxy phones. I would say I like the shots better on the Xiaomi 15 compared to something like its competitor, which would be like an S25, the base model. Samsung hasn't updated those cameras, and you can definitely tell because this photo just does a better job to me in terms of pretty much everything. I just like the shots, the color, dynamic range. The video looks a little bit better. Yeah, I just overall think the telephoto lens is a little bit better as well too. So I would say the cameras are pretty good. It's a 50 megapixel standard, 50 megapixel telephoto. It has a 2.6 optical zoom, and then it can go all the way up to 60 times zoom, which is nice. And then we also do have a 50 megapixel ultra wide on here, 8K, 24 and 30, 32 megapixel selfie cam on here is pretty solid. So overall, I do like the shots for sure, guys. Now, because this phone has such a massive battery, the standby time is really good. And on the global version, it's a little bit smaller, so it's like basically 5200 milliamp. And then on the Chinese version, it's 54. But this thing for 5000 milliamp hour battery with this 8 Elite chip, it is pretty good with standby time and screen on time. You basically can easily, if you're a light user, you can get a day and a half battery life out of this phone pretty easy. And then also we have 90-watt charging on here as well, so it charges pretty fast, and 50-watt wireless charging, so it charges pretty fast with wireless charging. And then we have 10-watt reverse wireless charging on here as well. So it's a flagship that I really like. I could easily just use this as my daily driver. What do you guys think?